Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming in the systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am not the qualified person here. Thank you for giving the opportunity to serve Srimad Bhagavatam today. So seeking blessing for you all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and please accept my humble apologies for my mistakes. We will start with Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari 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 Yashoda Nandana Braj Jana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Bane Chari Yamuna Tira Bane Chari Yamuna Tira Bane Chari Yamuna Tira Bane Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Natavare Radha Natavare Radhe Jai Radha Natavare Radha Natavare Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya 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 Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udireyata Nastya Prayeshva Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke न भक्तिर्भवति नश्चके ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं स्वादितं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे नमः श्रीपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूते श्रीमते भक्ति विराम स्वामी नित्यानंद नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी पचमने निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाष्य So we are serving Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse from 4 to 7. Please repeat after me. सत्यांशितो किं कशिपो प्रयासेन
सत्यांशितो किं
कशिपो प्रयासे,
बाहु ससिद्धेः उपवर्णिकीं
बाहो स्वसिद्धेः उपवारणिकीं
सत्यञ्जलो किं पुराधानपात्र्यां
सत्याञ्जलो किं पुरुधानपात्र्यां
दिग्वल्कलादो सति किं दुकूले
दिग्वल्कलादो सति किं दुकूले.
Synonym Satyam,
Satyam,
being in possession,
being in possession.
Shito,
Shito,
earthly flats,
earthly flats.
Kim,
Kim,
where is the necessity,
where is the necessity?
Kashipo,
Kashipo,
of beds and cots,
of beds and cots.
Prayase,
Prayase,
endeavoring for, Bahu,
Bahu,
the arms,
Swasiddhe,
being self-sufficient, He, certainly, Upabarhane, bed and bedstead, Kim, what is the use, Sati, being present, Anjalo, the palms of the hands, Kim, what is the use, Puradha, varieties of Anna, eatables, Patrya, by the utensils, Dik, open space, Valkaladu, skin of trees, Sati, being existent, Kim, what is the use of, Dukule, clothes. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. When there are amply earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering of the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Purport. Anyone can read purport.
The necessities of life for the protection and comfort of the body must not be unnecessarily increased. Human energy is spoiled in a vain search after such illusory happiness. If one is able to lie down on the floor, then why should one endeavor to get a good bedstead or soft cushion to lie on? If one can rest without any pillow and make use of the soft arms endowed by nature, there is no necessity of searching after a pillow. If we make a study of the general life of the animals, we can see that they have no intelligence for building big houses, furniture, and other household paraphernalia. And yet they maintain a healthy life by lying down on the open land. They do not know how to cook or prepare foodstuff, yet they still live healthy lives more easily than the human being. This does not mean that human civilization should revert to animal life, or that the human being should live naked in the jungles without any culture, education, and sense of morality. An intelligent human cannot live the life of an animal. Rather, man should try to utilize his intelligence in arts and science, poetry and philosophy. In such a way, he can further the progressive march of human civilization. But here the idea given by Srila Shukadev Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, which is far superior to that of animals, should simply be utilized for self-realization. Advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God, which is not possible in any form of life other than the human. One must realize the nullity of the material phenomenon, considering it a passing phantasmagoria, and must endeavor to make a solution to the miseries of life. Self-complacence with a polished type of animal civilization geared to sense gratification is delusion, and such a civilization is not worthy of the name. In pursuit of such false activities, a human being is in the clutches of Maya or illusion. Great sages and saints in the days of yore were not living in palatial buildings furnished with good furniture and so-called amenities of life. They used to live in huts and groves and sit on the flat ground, and yet they have left immense treasures of high knowledge with all perfection. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami were high-ranking ministers of state, but they were able to leave behind them immense writings on transcendental knowledge while residing only for one night underneath one tree. They did not live even 2 nights under the same tree, and what to speak of well-furnished rooms with modern amenities. And still they were able to give us most important literatures of self-realization. So-called comforts of life are not actually helpful for progressive civilization, rather they are detrimental to such progressive life. In the system of Sanatana Dharma, of 4 divisions of social life and 4 orders of progressive realization, there are ample opportunities and sufficient directions for a happy termination of the progressive life. And the sincere followers are advised therein to accept a voluntary life of renunciation in order to achieve the desired goal of life. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, one should try to get into the habit at a later stage of life, as recommended by Srila Shukadev Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success.
We will continue next verse as well, and after that I will summarize and give the main idea for both verses. So text verse 5. Chirani kim pati na santi dishanti bhiksham.
Chirani kim patina santi dishanti bhiksham.
Nevangri papa vrata sarita upayashu shanya.
Nevangri papa vrata sarita shanya.
Ruta guha kim jito avati na upasanan. Kasmad vajanti kavyo dandur durmadan dandhan. Synonym: Chirani, torn clothes, Kim, weather, Pati, on the road, Na, not, Santi, there is, Dishanti, give in charity, Bhiksham, alms, Na, not, Eva, also, Angripa,
The trees.
the trees. Parabrita,
Parabrita,
one who maintains others.
one who maintains others.
Sarita,
Sarita,
the rivers.
the rivers.
Api,
Api,
also.
Also,
Ashishyan,
Ashishyan
have dried up.
have dried up.
Rudha,
Ruddha,
closed.
closed.
Guha,
Guha,
caves.
caves.
Kim,
Kim,
weather.
weather.
Ajita,
Ajitaha,
the Almighty Lord.
the Almighty Lord.
Avati,
Avati,
give protection.
give protection.
Na,
Now,
not.
not.
Upasanan,
Upasanan,
the surrendered soul.
the surrendered soul.
Kasmat,
Tasma,
what for.
what for?
Then,
Then,
Vajanti,
Bhajanti,
flatters.
flatters.
Kavya,
Kavyaha,
the learned.
the learned.
Dhan,
Then,
wealth.
well,
Durmadanudhan,
Durmada Andhan,
too intoxicated by.
too intoxicated by.
Translation. Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for mentioning others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers, being dried up, no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? Purport.
The renounced order of life is never meant for begging or living at the cost of others as a parasite. According to the dictionary, a parasite is a sycophant who lives at the cost of society without making any contribution to that society. The renounced order is meant for contributing something substantial to society and not depending on the earnings of the householders. On the contrary, acceptance of alms from the householders by the bona fide mendicant is an opportunity afforded by the saint for the tangible benefit of the donor. In the Sanatana Dharma institution, alms giving to the mendicant is part of a householder's duty, and it is advised in the scriptures that the householders should treat the mendicants as their family children and should provide them with food, clothing, etc. without being asked. Pseudo-mendicants therefore should not take advantage of the charitable disposition of the faithful householders. The first duty of a person in the renounced order of life is to contribute some literary work for the benefit of the human being in order to give him realized direction towards self-realization. Amongst the other duties in the renounced order of life of Srila Sanatana, Sri Rupa and other Goswamis of Vrindavan, the foremost duty discharged by them was to hold learned discourses amongst themselves at Seva Kunja, Vrindavan, the spot where Sri Radha Damodar temple was established by Srila Jiva Goswami and where the actual Samadhi tombs of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami are laid. For the benefit of all in human society, they left behind them immense literatures of transcendental importance. Similarly, all the acharyas who voluntarily accepted the renounced order of life aimed at benefiting human society and not at living a comfortable or irresponsible life at the cost of others. However, those who cannot give any contribution should not go to the householders for food, for such mendicants asking bread from the householders are an insult to the highest order. Sukadev Goswami gave this warning especially for those mendicants who adopt this line of profession to solve their economic problems. Such mendicants are in abundance in the age of Kali. When a man becomes a mendicant willfully or by circumstances, he must be of firm faith and conviction that the Supreme Lord is the maintainer of all living beings everywhere in the universe. Why then would he neglect the maintenance of a surrendered soul who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord? A common master looks to the necessities of his servant, so how much more would the all-powerful, all-opulent Supreme Lord look after the necessities of life for a fully surrendered soul? The general rule is that a mendicant devotee will accept a simple small loincloth without asking anyone to give it in charity. He simply salvages it from the rejected torn cloth thrown in the street. When he is hungry, he may go to a magnanimous tree which drops fruits, and when he is thirsty, he may drink water from the flowing river. He does not require to live in a comfortable house, but should find a cave in the hills and not be afraid of jungle animals, keeping faith in God who lives in everyone's heart. The Lord may dictate to tigers and other jungle animals not to disturb his devotee. Haridas Thakur, a great devotee of Lord Sri Chaitanya, used to live in such a cave, and by chance a great venomous snake was a co-partner of the cave. Some admirer of Thakur Haridas, who had to visit the Thakur every day, feared the snake and suggested that the Thakur leave that place. Because his devotees were afraid of the snake and they were regularly visiting the cave, Thakur Haridas agreed to the proposal on their account. But as soon as this was settled, the snake actually crawled out of its hole in the cave before everyone present and left the cave for good. By the dictation of the Lord, who lived also within the heart of the snake gave preference to Haridas and decided to leave the place and not disturb him. So this is a tangible example of how the Lord gives protection to a bona fide devotee like Thakur Haridas. According to the regulations of the Sanatan Dharma institution, one is trained from the beginning to depend fully on the protection of the Lord in all circumstances. The path of renunciation is recommended for acceptance by one who is fully accomplished and fully purified in his existence. This stage is described also in the Bhagavad Gita 16.5 as Daivi Sampat. A human being is required to accumulate Daivi Sampat or spiritual assets. Otherwise, the next alternative, Asuri Sampat or material assets, will overcome him disproportionately, and thus one will be forced into the entanglement of different miseries of the material world. A sannyasi should always live alone without company, and he must be fearless. He should never be afraid of living alone, although he is never alone. The Lord is residing in everyone's heart, and unless one is purified by the prescribed process, one will feel that he is alone. But a man in the renounced order of life must be purified by the process. Thus he will feel the presence of the Lord everywhere and will have nothing to fear, such as being without any company. Everyone can become a fearless and honest person if his very existence is purified by discharging the prescribed duty for each and every order of life. One can become fixed in one's prescribed duty by faithful oral reception of Vedic instructions and assimilation of the essence of Vedic knowledge by devotional service to the Lord.
The purport itself says everything, so I just combine both verses together and giving the summary of essence of the both. So like previous verses, Srila Sukdev Goswami is continuing his teaching on simple living, high thinking. So and it's for the all human society, but especially for renounced people. So they can lead their life to get self-realized and get the purpose of human life, that is the Krishna's love, the love of Supreme Lord. He asked to minimize the necessities of human life, and he rejects the idea to over collecting the material life. He does not say he does not say like you should go in the jungle and live like an animal, but why he says so, his idea is that so one can use his energy and time to engage himself in the service, in the devotion service of the Lord, and they get their lost relationship that of the God. And Srila Sukdev Goswami himself is a perfect example of renounced life. He did not come out of his mother womb even until he was 16 years old, and as soon as he came out, he ran to the jungle because he did not want to come in the contact of the material nature. His idea is that only so while we are not focusing our time and energy to get the material necessities like food, water, and shelter, because the nature only has given all these. Even our body, even Supreme Lord make our body like this. Like we can lie on the floor, we can use our arms as a pillow, we can use the tree skins and leaves as a clothing, and live in the caves of in the mountains. If we are hungry, we can get food from the trees. Those are loaded with fruits and water from the rivers. So why we should waste our time to just to get these things? Um, so and we can work our this time to get our spiritual life better. As because as the human life, the human form is out of the 84 species of living entity, is the only form who has the 84 legs. 84 legs 84 legs form of living entities is the only form who have intelligence, and he can use this intelligence for the spiritual advancement, not only just his life but all the human civilization, by giving the spiritual knowledge, by spreading the glory, spreading the holy name, like our previous acharyas and Goswamis, like Srila Sanatan, Srila Rupa Goswami, and all. Even our beloved Srila Prabhupada, who at the age of 70 came to the West to for the advancement, for the spiritual advancement of the West people, and gave the most transcendental literature and connect them to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he did not care about his age, about his comfort. He just came to serve the Sri Krishna. And this is the foremost duty of the renounced people of sannyasi, to give his contribution to the society without expecting anything from them. They can expect like their basic necessities, food and water, but they should not be depend on them and should not make their profession a renounced order to solve their economic problems. And we can see these kind of sannyasis and sadhus in this age of Kali, who are just adopt this sannyasi life and go door to door to get their money and food, and in the night what they do we don't know. They do not contribute anything. They do not ask them to chant the holy name. They do not tell the what is the purpose of human life and all. And if one who voluntarily accept a renounced order of life should have full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he should be fully surrendered unto him, that he will be protect and he will be take care by him in each and every manner, because because the Supreme Lord is all maintainer. He protects everyone. He lies in everyone's heart. Everyone's heart. We can give. I can give another like example again about Srila Prabhupada, who had heart attack twice during his journey to the West, but he was fully surrendered. He had full faith in Sri Krishna that he will protect him, and he was protected by Sri Krishna, and he landed to the West, and he started his preaching here, and he get more people to connect to the Lord Krishna, and he opened so many temples, and he gave the institution like ISKCON, where every can come and connect to each other, hear about the glory of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and get their spiritual life better. And another example, so the person should have full faith and should surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Another example is here like Srila Prahlad, who also was protected by Sri Krishna when his father tried to kill him in different ways, but he was always saved by the Supreme Father. So that's how by being fixed in the path of spirituality and fully in the mood of full surrender, one a devotee can get the real goal of his life and can change his consciousness. So and can change his consciousness and can contribute in the advancement of the human civilization. As Srila Prabhupada said, just give one life to Krishna. We have been enjoying so many lifetimes, so there is no harm to give one life to Krishna. Anyone can add more? I just have to say this much. Prabhuji, one more. Just please.
It's okay. Everybody can act.
Yeah, this is really a good reminder for all of us. So as of course for the sannyasis the highest instructions are given as to how they should live, and difference between pseudo sannyasis and the real sannyasis. But then Prabhupada also mentions about the different sections and the varnas and the ashrams, and how we should all minimize our comforts, and as you said, not waste our time in a lot of material endeavors, because then that takes our time from the actual goal of life. So we should do whatever is necessary, but then our ultimate goal of life is to remember Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
There's a verse, right? Life's desires should not be directed.
Life's desire should not be directed towards sense gratification. We should desire only a healthy life of self-preservation. There should be no other goal. And I was thinking, whatever comes of its own accord, whatever Krishna gives us, we should not renounce artificially. If Krishna has given us a big house, then use it for Krishna's service, right? But we should not over endeavor in the sense that we expand too much, that we have less time for our sadhana. So our sadhana should not be impacted. But then, we take it as a gift from Krishna, and we use it and, have devotees come into our house, do satsang, and donate to the temple. And then we can do austerity. Austerity purifies our heart, in the sense you lie down on the floor. Even if you have a bed, you lie down on the floor, and you eat minimally. That's good for your spirituality rather than eating more opulent things. So we can cut down on and do more austerity for Krishna's pleasure. Austerity should not make our heart hard-hearted. It should make us more humble and soft-hearted.
Thank you, Mataji, to that. So we continue to verse 6. Evam sachitte sat eva siddha atma priyartho bhagavan ananta. Want to repeat?
Evam
Svachite swataiva siddha atma priyortho bhagavan ananta.
Tam nirvato niyartartho bhajeta sansar hetu parimascha yatra.
Tam nirvito nityartho bhajeta sansara hetu paramascha yatra.
Synonym. Evam.
Evam. Thus,
Sachitte,
Swachitte,
in one's own heart,
in one's own heart,
Swata,
Swata,
by his omnipotency,
by his omnipotency,
Eva,
Eva,
certainly,
certainly,
Siddha,
Siddha,
fully represented,
fully represented,
Atma,
Atma,
the supersoul,
the super soul,
Priya,
Priya,
very dear,
very dear,
Artha,
Artha,
substance,
substance,
Bhagwan,
Bhagavan,
the supreme personality of Godhead,
the supreme personality of Godhead,
Ananta,
Anantaha,
the eternal unlimited,
the eternal unlimited,
Tam,
Tham,
unto him,
unto him,
Nirvata,
Nirvita,
being detached from the world,
being detached from the world,
Niyata,
Niyata,
permanent,
permanent,
Artha,
Artha,
the supreme gain,
supreme gain,
Bhajata,
Bhajeta,
one must worship,
one must worship,
Samsara Hetu,
Samsara Hetu,
the cause of the conditioned state of existence,
the cause of the conditioned state of existence,
Uparamaha,
Uparamaha,
cessation,
cessation,
Cha,
Cha,
certainly,
certainly,
Yatra,
Yatra,
in
in which,
translation, thus being fixed, one must render service unto the Supreme situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency, because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence. Purport.
As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 1861, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the all-pervading, omnipresent Super Soul. Therefore, one who is a yogi can worship him only because he is the substance and not illusion. Every living creature is engaging in the service of something else. A living being's constitutional position is to render service, but in the atmosphere of Maya or illusion or the conditional state of existence, the conditioned soul seeks the service of illusion. A conditioned soul works in the service of his temporary body, bodily relatives like wife and children, and the necessary paraphernalia for maintaining the body and bodily relations, such as the house, land, wealth, society, and country. But he does not know that all such renderings of service are totally illusory. As we have discussed many times before, this material world itself is itself an illusion, like a mirage in the desert. In the desert, there is an illusion of water, and the foolish animals become entrapped by such an illusion and run after water in the desert. Although there is no water at all, but because there is no water in the desert, one does not conclude that there is no water at all. The intelligent person knows well that there is certainly water in the seas and oceans, but such vast reservoirs of water are far, far away from the desert. One should therefore search for water in the vicinity of seas and oceans and not in the desert. Every one of us is searching after real happiness in life, namely eternal life, eternal or unlimited knowledge, and unending blissful life. But foolish people who have no knowledge of the substance search after the reality of life in the illusion. The material body does not endure eternally, and everything in relation with this temporary body, such as wife, children, society, and country, also changes along with the change of body. This is called sansar, or repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. We would like to find a solution for all these problems of life, but we do not know the way. Herein it is suggested that anyone who wants to make an end to these miseries of life, namely repetition of birth, death, disease, and old age, must take to this process of worshipping the Supreme Lord and not others, as it is also ultimately suggested in Bhagavad Gita 1865. If we at all want to end the cause of our conditioned life, we must take to the worship of Lord Shri Krishna, who is present in everyone's heart by his natural affection for all living beings, who are actually the parts and parcels of the Lord. The baby in the lap of his mother is naturally attached to the mother, and the mother is attached to the child. But when the child grows up and becomes overwhelmed by circumstances, he gradually becomes detached from the mother, although the mother always expects some sort of service from the grown-up child and is equally affectionate towards her child, even though the child is forgetful. Similarly, because we are all part and parcel of the Lord is always affectionate to us, and he always tries to get us back home, back to God. But we, the conditioned souls, do not care for him and run instead after the illusory bodily connections. We must therefore extricate ourselves from all illusory connections of the world and seek reunion with the Lord, trying to render service unto him because He is the ultimate truth. Actually, we are hankering after Him as the child seeks the mother. And to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we need not go anywhere else because the Lord is within our hearts. This does not suggest, however, that we should not go to the places of worship, namely the temples, churches, and mosques. Such holy places of worship are also occupied by the Lord because the Lord is omnipresent. For the common man, these holy places are centers of learning about the science of God. When the temples are devoid of activities, the people in general become uninterested in such places, and consequently, the mass of people gradually becomes godless. And a godless civilization is the result. Such a hellish civilization artificially increases the conditions of life, and existence becomes intolerable for everyone. The foolish leaders of a godless civilization try to devise various plans to bring about peace and prosperity in the godless world under a patent trademark of materialism. And because such attempts are illusory only, the people elect incompetent blind leaders, one after another, who are incapable of offering solutions. If we want at all to end this anomaly of a godless civilization, we must follow the principles of revealed scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam and follow the instruction of a person like Sri Shukdev Goswami, who has no attraction for material gain.
We will continue text 7 as well, and I will summarize all. Kastam Tvanaditya Puranuchintam
Kastam tavanaditya paranuchintam
Rite Pashun Satim na Puryat
Rite pashuna satim nama kurya
Pashe Anjanam Patitam Betarnya
Pashyanjanam patitam vetaranya
Sakarmajan Paritap Anjushanam
Swakarmajam
Synonym Ka, who else?
Who else?
Some, that,
That.
two, but,
But
Anadritya,
anadritya
by neglecting,
by neglecting
Para Anuchintam,
para anuchintam
transcendental thoughts,
transcendental thoughts
Rite,
without
without, Pasun,
pashun
the materialists,
the materialist
Asatim,
asati
in the non-permanent,
in the non-permanent
Nama,
name
name, Kuryat,
kurya
will adopt, Pashyan,
pashya
seeing definitely,
see definitely
Janam,
janam
the general mass of
the
people,
general mass of people
Patitam, fallen,
fallen
Vetarnyam,
Vaitaran
in Vetarni,
in Vaitaran
the river of suffering,
the river of suffering
Sakarma Jan,
Sakarmajan
produced from one's own work,
produced from one's own work
Paritapan,
Paritapan
suffering,
suffering
Chushanam,
Yushanam
being overtaken by.
being overtaken by.
Translation. Who else but the gross materialist will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only, seeing the mass of people fallen in the river of suffering as the consequences of occurring the result of their own work. Purport.
In the Vedas, it is said that persons who are attached to demigods to the exclusion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are like the animals who follow the herdsman even though they are taken to the slaughterhouse. The materialists, like animals, also do not know how they are being misdirected by neglecting the transcendental thought of the Supreme Person. No one can remain vacant of thought. It is said that an idle brain is a devil's workshop because a person who cannot think in the right way must think of something which may bring about disaster. The materialistic always worshipping some minor demigods, although this is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 7.20. As long as a person is illusioned by material gains, he petitions the respective demigods to draw some particular benefit, which is, after all, illusionary and non-permanent. The enlightened transcendentalist is not captivated by such illusory things, therefore he is always absorbed in the transcendental thoughts of the Supreme in different stages of realization, namely Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. In the previous verse, it is suggested that one should think of the Super Soul, which is one step higher than the impersonal thought of Brahman. As it was suggested in the case of contemplating the Virat Rupa of the personality of Godhead. Intelligent persons who can see properly may look into the general conditions of living entities who are wandering in the cycle of 8, 8,400,000 species of life, as well as in different classes of human beings. It is said that there is an everlasting belt of water called the river Vatarni at the entrance of the Plutonic planet of Yamraj, who punishes sinners in different manners. After being subjected to such sufferings, a sinner is awarded a particular species of life according to his deeds in the past. Such living entities as are punished by Yamraj are seen in different varieties of conditioned life. Some of them are in heaven and some of them are in hell. Some of them are brahmanas and some of them are misers. But no one is happy in this material world, and all of them are either class A, B, or C prisoners suffering because of their own deeds. The Lord is impartial to all circumstances of the suffering of the living entities, but to one who takes shelter at his lotus feet, the Lord gives proper protection, and he takes such a living entity back home, back to himself.
So now the Srila Sukadeva Goswami is saying that a pure devotee who is fixed can see the Supreme Lord in his own heart, and he can render his service unto him, as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as well. Ishvara Sarvbhutanam Hridayeshu Arjuna Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in every heart. He is eternal, omnipresent, and he directs the all living entities. But in the influence of Maya or illusion, we have forgotten our relationship with the Lord. That is, we are eternal servant of Sri Krishna. Jivere Sarupai Krishna Nitya Das. So, but we think that we are body, we are not spirit, and we all the bodily relationships like parents, children, friends, society, country, they are all ours, and we work hard to make their lives comfort or for their advancement, like we are running after the illusion basically, and we forget everything about our relationship with God, whose actual part or parcel of we are. Srila Prabhupada says the constitutional position of a living entity is to render the service. So we, instead of serving to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we serve to illusion. And Srila Prabhupada often quotes in his lectures, if we do not serve God, we will serve dog. That is Maya. But the intelligent man detach himself from the service of dog or Maya and attach himself in the devotional service of the super soul by chanting his holy names, singing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, writing the transcendental books, preaching about that, going to temple, worshipping the deities, cleaning the temple, serving the devotees, and taking association of the pure devotees. As in Bhagavad Gita, in Krishna says, Yehi sansprashaja bhoga duhyona evate adyantavanta konte nate shuramte buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and end, so the wise man does not like them, because these are all temporary. They will not stay with us for all. So material world, we can say the material world is like a mirage. In mirage, we see the waters in the desert, but there is no water, and we just run after to get the water. So in material nature, in material world also, we are looking for the happiness, but the real happiness is not in the material world and just running and just making hard endeavor to get the real happiness, getting one desire fulfilled to get another desire, make our body relationship comfort. We are working to comfort their body, so we are just getting our desire fulfilled and to running after happiness. We are wandering in the cycle of the repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. And this is all called samsara. And keep moving like this. We are moving in this cycle just because of our deeds. From an ant, from a human, we are getting different bodies, but we are not working on the real goal of life. So here Srila Goswami condemns the karma kanda also. Like people worship the demigods. We can respect demigods. Krishna also himself contains in Bhagavad Gita worshipping the demigods, because we go to the demigods and worship them for a material happiness or material desire, like to get a good job, get a beautiful wife, get a big house and all. These all desires are fulfilled. So one desire is fulfilled, another desire comes up, and we go to another demigod. So and there are 33 crores demigods, and every demigod cannot be satisfied. So instead of worshipping demigods, we should worship the root of everything. So the super soul, Sri Krishna. Like if we water the root of the plant, all the branches and leaves get their nutritions. So if we worship Sri Krishna, all the demigods will be worshipped. Some people worship demigods out of fear as well. Like if we do not worship the particular demigod, we will get punished and like losing the job and something bad happened to him. I took an example from the pastime of Krishna. I don't know if this is appropriate or not. Please forgive me if it is not appropriate. Like in Dwapar Yuga, Brijvasi also used to worship Lord Indra, because they think that Indra gives everything to them, like by rain, and they grow crops and they can feed their and cows, and for that. So they used to give sacrifices all to the Indra, but Krishna himself made them understand it's not Indra, it's the Govardhan hill who is providing everything to them, like soft grasses for cows, and it helps clouds to do rain and all. So instead of worshiping Indra, they should take shelter on the lotus feet of Govardhan hill. So Brijvasis took the shelter of the Govardhan hill, who was himself Lord Krishna, and that's how Krishna himself condemns the worship of demigods. So in this way, by taking the shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, again one can change his consciousness and surrender himself unto him and go back to Godhead. And this is the desire of the Sri Krishna himself, who is the Supreme Father, who wants his all children turned back to him. So and in this yuga, the only way to go back to Godhead is chanting the holy name Mahamantra, that is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chant and be happy. Thank you. Prabhuji, another night.
There's a nice, I was thinking that how in Mahabharata there is a nice example of how Krishna is satisfied, then everybody is satisfied.
Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam, Draupadi had the Akshapatra.
You know the story that Durvasa Muni
Muni
came
came,
with the 60,000
yeah.
disciples.
Yes.
He was
And-
very hungry, and then Krishna was given that little vegetable or something, and then they all felt very satisfied.
Yeah, so just
Sometimes
satisfy Krishna.
Sometimes also in the scriptures it talks about what is this material happiness, how much it can give. So the description is like, let's say you're in a desert and you have no water and you're so thirsty, so tired, so fatigued, nothing, and then somebody comes and gives you one drop of water.
Water.
So what the drop of water, yeah, you feel little, but what is that compared to how you are feeling? It's nothing, right? So that is how material happiness is. But spiritual happiness is an ocean.
Also like the fish out of water. You give the fish anything and everything, a nice house, a nice things to eat, and a nice bed to lay on. It's gonna say, no, I want to get back into water. I don't want this. Same thing. We are not these bodies, we are spirit souls. Whatever we provide to this body cannot satisfy our soul. Soul is satisfied only with spiritual food, which is devotional service. Krishna chanting.
Feed the bird, not the
Cage.
cage. Thank you. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम पुराण की
Jai.
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय
Jai. Her Grace Kanchan ki.
और अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय।